Welcome to quantum dreams. Are we living in a matrix like simulation? Close your eyes. Not to sleep, but to look inward. Take a breath, hold it, and let it go. Now, I want you to remember. Consider the last dream you inhabited. Go back to that moment. In that space, the sun felt warm on your skin, didn't it? The air carried a scent. Perhaps rain on pavement, or the sharp tang of pine needles. If you touched a wall, it was rough. If you fell, you felt the impact. The ground held your weight with an absolute, unwavering certainty while you were there, walking through that constructed world. You never questioned the architecture of the light. You never stopped to ask if the gravity holding you down was a fundamental law of physics or merely a line of code executing in the background of your mind. You accepted it. You felt it. It was, for all intents and purposes, your reality. You only knew it was a dream. Once you woke up, that transition, the moment of waking, is the strangest sensation a consciousness can feel. The world you were just in, the people you were talking to, the emotions you felt, they dissolve, they fade like mist. And you are left lying in bed, staring at a ceiling, reassuring yourself that this is the real world, this is the solid one. But how do you know? What if the waking world is simply the dream you haven't finished yet? What if the sensation of waking up is just shifting from one level of the simulation to another? What if the real world is the most sophisticated piece of software ever written, and you are not just an inhabitant, you are its primary user? We assume reality is real because it feels consistent. If you drop a glass, it breaks every single time. But consistency is not proof of reality. Consistency is just proof of a stable, operating system. A well-designed game does not crash. A well-designed simulation does not glitch unless you know where to look. This suspicion, this nagging feeling that there is a veil between us and the truth is not new. It is as old as thought itself. 2,000 years ago, long before computers, long before electricity, a philosopher named Plato told a story. He described a cave deep underground. Imagine a row of prisoners. They have been there since childhood. They are chained in such a way that they cannot turn their heads. They can only look forward at the damp, cold wall of the cave. Behind them, unseen, burns a great fire, and between the fire and the prisoners, people walk carrying objects, statues of men, figures of animals, tools of wood and stone. The fire casts the shadows of these objects onto the wall. The prisoners watch the shadows. They name them. That is a bird, they say. That is a warrior. To them, these flickering, distorted shapes are not reflections. They are the ultimate truth. They are the only reality that has ever existed. Now, imagine one prisoner is freed. He stands up. His muscles ache. He turns around. For the first time, he looks directly at the fire. It burns his eyes. He is confused. He sees the statues passing by, the real objects, but they look strange to him. He thinks that the shadows on the wall are more real than the solid objects, casting them. He is dragged up the rough ascent, out of the cave and into the sunlight. The brilliance of the sun blinds him. He is overwhelmed, but slowly his eyes adjust. He sees the trees, the sky, the stars. He realizes that his entire life, every fear, every joy, every fact he ever knew was based on a silhouette, a trick of the light. If he went back down, if he returned to the chains and told the others, this isn't real. There is a world of color and light above us. They would not believe him. They would laugh. They would say he has lost his mind. They would say he has been blinded by the light. We are those prisoners. Our eyes are the chains. Our senses are the cave. We watch the photons bouncing off objects and we call it seeing. We feel the electromagnetic resistance between atoms and we call it touching. We are watching shadows on the wall of our mind, convinced we are seeing the universe as it truly is, but we are only seeing the interface. For centuries, we called this interface Maya. We called it the veil. We called it the dream. But in 1999, we were given a new myth, a new language for an ancient anxiety. We saw a world of green falling code. We saw a choice, stark and terrifying, between a red pill and a blue one. The Matrix was not just an action movie. It was a cultural seismic shift. It was an existential mirror. When Morpheus held out those pills, he wasn't offering a choice to Neo. He was offering it to us. You take the blue pill, the story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill. You stay in Wonderland. And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. Why did that resonate? Why, 25 years later, do we still speak of glitches in the Matrix? Because it gave us a metaphor that matched our technological evolution. We stopped looking at the stars as the domain of gods and started looking at them as a procedural generation. It asked a question that has haunted the edges of our consciousness. Is the universe made of matter, or is it made of math? Think about a video game. When you play, you see a city, you see traffic, pedestrians, clouds. But underneath, there is no city. There are no cars. There is only code. There is only a stream of zeros and ones being processed by a silicon chip, rendering an image for your benefit. The city is an illusion. The code is the reality. In the film, the machines built the simulation to imprison us. But the scary thought, the one that keeps scientists and philosophers awake at night, is not that we are prisoners. It's that we might be voluntary participants, or worse. We might be the code itself, in the quiet intersection of logic and infinity. We find ourselves standing on a precipice. We often think of simulations as games, as toys, but we must look closer at the inevitability of our own progress. Consider the trajectory of our technology. 50 years ago, we had Pong, 2 white rectangles, and a square dot. It was crude, but to the people playing it, it was magic. Fast forward just a few decades, a blink of an eye in cosmic time. Today, we have photorealistic worlds. We have virtual reality headsets that can trick the inner ear. We have built cathedrals of light out of silicon. Now, project this line forward. Not just 10 years, but 1,000 years, 10,000 years. If we continue on this path, if we do not destroy ourselves, what will our computers look like then? They will not be boxes of metal and glass. They will be vast, planetary scale minds. And the worlds they create will be indistinguishable from reality. If you could step into a simulation built by a civilization 1,000,000 years older than ours, you would not see pixels. You would feel the wind. You would taste the air. You would fall in love. And you would never, ever know that it wasn't real. The question isn't, can we build it? The question is, have we already been built? This brings us to a specific chilling thought experiment proposed by the philosopher Nick Bostrom. He called it the simulation argument. It proposes that all civilizations anywhere in the universe must fall into one of 3 categories, a trilemma. The first path, extinction. We destroy ourselves before we reach the power to simulate a universe. The second path, apathy. We survive, but we simply choose not to run simulations. But then there is the third path, the persistent whisper in the dark. It suggests that civilizations survive and they have the desire to run ancestor simulations. If this third path is the true one, then the consequences are staggering. Follow the logic. If a civilization has the power to run these simulations, they wouldn't run just one, they would run millions, billions. Imagine a single A base reality, and beneath it, millions of digital universes branching out like roots. In each of those simulations, there are billions of conscious minds, people who believe with every fiber of their being that they are real. Now, do the math. If there is one real world and a billion simulated worlds, what are the odds that you are in the one single original reality? The math says the odds are 1,000,000,000 against us. To believe you are in the base reality is an act of supreme arrogance. Statistically, you are not the body sitting in the chair. You are the code processing the sensation of the chair. You are not the dreamer. You are the dream. Imagine the architect, not as a man in a white suit, but as a vast, silent processing force, an algorithm of infinite complexity. And like any good algorithm, it prioritizes efficiency. A computer doesn't render what isn't being seen. When you play a video game, the world behind your back doesn't exist. It is a void. It only pops into existence the moment you turn around to look at it. Does our universe behave this way? It doesn't need to simulate every star in the sky, only the ones your telescopes can see. It doesn't need to simulate the interior of a rock until you break it open. This architect is a masterpiece of efficiency. It is a lazy evaluator. It suggests the universe is a fluid, responsive stream of data generated for you. Every time you blink, the world pauses. Every time you look, the code executes. We are living in a procedural generation, and if we look closely enough, perhaps we can find the edges where the rendering struggles to keep up. Every system has constraints. To build a universe as vast as ours, you would need shortcuts, optimization. In the world of software, we call this frustum culling. The computer only renders the geometry directly within your field of view. The mountains behind you, they don't exist. The world is built just in time, milliseconds before your eye lands on it. For centuries, physicists believed our universe was solid. We believed that a rock was a rock, whether we looked at it or not. But then we started looking at the sub-atomic world, and we found a rendering engine. It is called the double slit experiment. When we aren't watching a particle, it behaves like a wave, a smear of possibility existing in multiple places at once. But the moment we measure it, The moment a conscious observer looks at it, the wave collapses. It becomes a solid thing, a particle, a coordinate. The moment we looked, it changed. Why? Perhaps matter is expensive to render. Perhaps the simulation keeps everything in a low resolution placeholder until a user requests the data. The universe waits for you to look before it decides what it is going to be. Consider quantum entanglement. Einstein called it spooky action at a distance. Two particles separated by a galaxy, mirroring each other's movements instantly. In a physical universe, this violates the speed of light, but in a simulation, it makes perfect sense. Imagine a video game map. Two characters on opposite sides of the world. In the computer's memory, their coordinates are just two variables sitting right next to each other. To the processor, there is no distance. Distance is only part of the display layer. It is only part of the user interface. Spooky action at a distance is only spooky if you believe the distance is real. If space is just a coordinate system in a database, then there is no separation. We are all entangled points in the same processor. Everything digital has a limit, a resolution, a pixel beyond which no more detail can exist. For a long time, we thought reality was analog, infinitely smooth. But physics tells us there is a bottom to the universe. It is called the Planck length. It is the absolute minimum unit of distance. Below this scale, space and time simply cease to function. The Planck length looks suspiciously like a pixel size. And if the universe is pixelated, what are the pixels made of? John Archibald Wheeler called it from bit. The building block of the universe is not matter. It is information, a bit, a 0 or a 1. When you touch a table, you are interacting with a rule set. Mass, charge a spin. These are just numbers attached to a coordinate. We are not swimming in a sea of atoms. We are swimming in a sea of data. The spiral of a galaxy matches the spiral of a nautilus shell. Is this the code reusing the same algorithms to save memory? This leads us to the holographic principle. It suggests that our 3D world is actually just a projection of information stored on a flat 2D surface. A 3D image from a 2D source, exactly like a hologram, exactly like a computer screen. We have looked at the math and the probability that our world is not what it seems. But does it matter? Does the love you feel for your child become fake because it is processed by a cosmic CPU? Pain feels real. Joy feels real. If a simulation is perfect, then for all practical purposes, it is reality. The medium does not dictate the message. The canvas does not dictate the art. There is one thing that is not an illusion. Cogito, ergo, sum. I think, therefore I am. In a digital universe, this is our anchor. Your body might be code, but your consciousness, that is real. That is the fundamental constant. Whether we are made of carbon or silicon, we are here. We are aware. We are the universe, experiencing its own code. Maybe the matrix isn't a prison. Maybe it's a cradle designed to help us grow. Through our eyes, the system sees beauty. So, the next time you walk down the street, look at the world differently. Don't look at it with fear. Look at it with wonder. The code is written in your breath. You are not false. You are not a mistake. Even if you are a simulation, you are a masterpiece. You are the glitch that makes the system beautiful. You are the quantum dream.